Hello, America. Welcome to the Junto Podcast, where we promote the practical applications of critical thinking and bold creativity. I am your host, Edgar Mills. Thanks for joining us. Hello, America. Welcome back to the Junto Podcast, and this is episode 24, and today we're talking to my friend, Pat Towery. So, who is Pat? First, Pat is a national board-certified health and wellness coach, and he's got his own practice called Patrick Towery Consulting, LLC. And he delivers mental wellness and leadership coaching to partnered college fraternity chapters, as well as individual college students. And then his credentials, you may wonder, why is he qualified to do health and wellness coaching? Well, he's got a Master's of Science in Healthcare Leadership from Brown University. He's got an Advanced Study Certificate in Leadership Psychology from Cornell University. And that's also the alma mater of my good friend Dan Ricci. And he graduated cum laude from Bucknell University in 2013. Pat is also, and this is, well, I don't think this is how we met, but Pat is also a former Army captain and UH-60 Blackhawk pilot, which is cool enough on its own. And then the really cool thing, though, and we'll get to this in a little bit, is he is also a professional fire breather. Yeah, it's awesome. And among his other endeavors, he's a boxing ring announcer for TCB fights. What does TCB stand for?
Taking care of business.
That's what I thought.
Elvis Presley, baby.
I'm going to get that tattoo pretty soon. With the lightning bolt, no?
You do it, I'll do it.
Let's do it. And he's also training to be a yoga teacher. So good people. Pat's got a lot of stuff going on. And we're going to talk about it. Hold on. We'll probably have to do this whole fucking thing over again. Okay, Pat. So I guess first and foremost, what brings you to Atlanta, Georgia?
Edgar, this is, my life isn't real, bro. I can't believe it. But I was here to execute part of a contract I have with the fraternity at Georgia Tech. So, believe it or not, there's a fraternity chapter on campus that is not required to have an outside advisor. They're not required to have a wellness coach or a therapist. They want to incorporate mental wellness into the fabric of their fraternity. So I work with them, not just providing one-on-one coaching with their members, but I'm doing new member education. I'm meeting their pledge class. I'm putting them through really tough workshops and putting them into manufactured conflict where they must use interpersonal skills. They have to use the communication tools that they're being taught. It's not just a lecture. But maybe the most important thing that I can say about what I'm doing with this chapter is that the most important thing that happens in any intervention that indicates whether or not it's going to be successful or not. It's not the letters behind someone's name. It's not the modality that's used. It's not the clinic that's associated with. It's the relationship that the person receiving help has with the provider. Yeah. That matters. Yeah. So much. I work with these young men to create a wellness committee inside of the chapter. I get members from every year group or every pledge class that comes in and is a representative of that little microcosm within the chapter. And I train them on high-risk behavior awareness, mental health first aid, resource triage, how to approach somebody and talk about really difficult things.
Yeah.
And we meet weekly. We screen members for not just who's suffering, but also who's underperforming or who hasn't been challenged. When we think about wellness in health, I think health might be the absence of illness or disease. Wellness is this internal resource that's renewable. that allows us to thrive. And these guys are not just working with high-risk people in the chapter. They're working with the common member. They're working with that guy who's at like an 80% solution and just needs some tools and some support and someone to challenge them and equip them to get from 80 to 85, maybe 90, maybe 100.
Yeah.
Together we collaborate on brief interventions, and it's all member driven. They're the ones that are coming up with the solution.
Yeah.
I'm there as an advisor. I have good anecdotal experience to draw on. I have good experience to maybe offer them as suggestions, but they know the culture and the health of their chapter way better than I do.
Yeah.
It's way better than any therapist.
So let me go back, because something you said I think is very interesting, is that this is not a mandate. This isn't some thing that the college is pushing, that you have to have this or you have to have that. So there's some forward-thinking leader in that, somewhere in there, who said, yeah, let's get us a health and wellness guy. So who is that? Who is that guy, and how does he fit into it? Did they have is that like a...
It's something that the whole chapter kind of demands of itself.
Yeah.
There's this permeable culture of excellence, I think, that this particular fraternity chapter that I'm working with has, that recognizes the benefit of having healthy relationships with one another, having members who are thriving academically, thriving socially, that are going to really tough school. Georgia Tech is insanely tough.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
When they have structure to work off of, to accelerate the growth within that chapter, they're able to do some really remarkable things. Their GPA is incredible. Their collective GPA is better than any GPA I think I've ever made in my life, bro. Their social experience is off the charts. They're doing some really amazing things together that, quite frankly, I think are at risk of disappearing from college culture. Some really good things that I think make our country great.
Yeah.
This is something that they want. It's something that they have been looking for.
I think it's really interesting that when I was college aged, man, I was out of control. I didn't have, obviously I wasn't in a fraternity of like-minded guys either, but, well, I was in the Army, but that's not where you go for your health and wellness, your mental wellness. I think it's interesting that these at this young age, early to mid 20s, whatever, I imagine.
You're getting a lot of, 18 to 21 year olds.
Okay, so early 20s and late teens.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting that they even recognize the value, because this is something that some people have to go through into their 40s and 50s before they realize, this is a very important aspect of life. That's pretty good. I mean, that's good on them for looking ahead like that.
I really have to commend them. I think by partnering with my private practice, they've been able to bring me in, and it's become normal and accepted for me to be within their living environment, to be working with them, to work within my scope of practice and support those members. I'm a little covert, right? I think about some of our maybe key leader engagement experiences we might have had in the Army about building trust and rapport with partners.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what I'm doing. I'm going to the chapter house to interact with the guys, asking them about their goals and aspirations and how maybe a dimension of wellness fits into it. Maybe sleep hygiene. That's huge. You remember how sleep deprived you were, when you were 18, 19 years old? You were in the Army too. Yeah. Holy smokes. I go to their social events as appropriate, right? I'm not there for the whole time. But interestingly enough, you go to these social events where there's, maybe a party or some social gathering to watch football on a projector on the side of a house. And they're ready, I think, to start talking about things below surface level. They're well beyond just the wave tops of How are you doing? Doing fine. They're ready to have deep, meaningful
I
conversations.
would imagine to be a good counselor, or not counselor, but coach, you have to know more than just the surface level about them. So to be in that environment, yeah, that gives you the insight, so you can see maybe even when somebody's telling you one thing in one setting and then doing something else in another setting.
I make so much progress going to the football games
Yeah.
and going to the tailgate.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's where I think a lot of guys feel very comfortable having me.
Yeah.
That's their environment. I was drawn to, can I tell you how I was drawn to this?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I wonder if you're interested in this, or maybe the people listening.
No, yeah. I mean, that was going to be a question, was how'd you go from being a Blackhawk pilot to health and wellness coaching for young people?
Bro, it's all connected, man. When I was a Blackhawk pilot in the Army, I remember this Army captain like walking outside of, it was like brigade headquarters or a hangar or something. He has like a combat infantryman's badge, master parachutist. He has the 82nd Airborne Division combat patch on, right? He stands out.
Yeah.
So I see this dude. He looks kind of familiar. We make eye contact. We start chopping up, and he was like, "Hey, you know, you don't happen to know Bobby Towery, do you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know him very well. He's my dad." He said, I was his personal security detail back in 2001.
Nice.
This captain started off as an infantryman, probably painting walls in my dad's office and like just hating him.
Yeah.
But he went from protecting my dad.
Well, hold tight. Back up.
Go ahead.
And your dad was
Colonel Bobby Towery.
Yeah.
An amazing human.
Yeah, just definitely. I know you love your dad, but tell the people who he was.
Servant leader. I think that comes to mind.
So
he was like
he did
very
a career, right? He retired as a colonel.
Colonel, yeah, career guy. He was incredibly compassionate.
Yeah.
He was a very thoughtful man. Yeah. Very kind. He would always take on these projects of supporting people.
Yeah.
That were just scraping rock bottom, and he would see where he could fit himself.
Yeah.
To go help them out.
So you get it honestly. It's in the genes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
I had great examples of parents, man.
That's good.
I had mom who was just a phenomenal mother. She was a great volunteer. She has all these awards and recognitions from like Sergeant Major Daly. I remember she has something from him back when he was at like ForceCom. They had such a healthy relationship with one another.
Yeah.
And that was the only example that I knew. Growing up, I didn't know that.
Fantastic.
I didn't know that kids grew up with parents who divorced or parents who didn't mesh well with one another or had different parenting styles. My mom and dad worked together as a unit.
Yeah, that's good.
Phenomenal human beings.
That is awesome. I'm sure everyone wishes they had some God.
My dad passed away unexpectedly in 2019 running a race. It was called the Great 38. He was raising money for disabled college students at Ole Miss. His last moments on earth were spent giving to a community that he could go help and support.
Yeah.
He died doing something that he loved.
Yeah. Well, that's tragic, but fantastic that he was doing doing his thing, doing what he did. Yeah.
I have so much admiration for him. When I was still in the military when that happened.
Yeah.
And in fact, that was kind of the catalyst that made me realize that I'd spent a long time away from home. I'd done everything I ever wanted to do in the Army. I'd done everything I ever wanted to do in a helicopter and more. Like I did some stuff I did want to do. And I was the Army was like, how would you like to do the same thing over again, but bigger? We're not going to pay you anything extra either.
Could be likened to Groundhog Day, the Bill Murray movie.
I think that helped me just make a decision that it was time for me to come home.
So yeah, let's get back to the captain that worked for your dad, and he helped inspire you, right?
So this guy started off as a infantryman. He was a private, protecting my dad, and then he commissions, he goes to graduate school. He becomes a licensed clinical social worker, right? And this guy's a man's man, right? He knows how to speak and talk to soldiers. He comes from the culture that I think you grew up in as a young infantryman.
Yeah.
I think as soldiers, we have a unique way of talking to one another and interacting.
Yeah.
Like our social norms are just so off the wall compared to other cultures. And this guy he got it. He wasn't shocked by anything we ever said. He might have engaged in like some of the tomfoolery, right? He was about it. He built a lot of trust and rapport with me. One, that relationship with my dad, but two, him showing up and just being about it. As a clinician, he was also a non-rated crew member. So this guy was a therapist, and he was flying with me in the aircraft, part of the crew. He was in the medic seat. He was on ICS comms. He was calling me. I remember landing some familiarization with that local hospital in Colorado Springs. The name escapes me right now, but you know which one I'm talking about.
St. Francis.
Is that? I think that's it.
I think it's St. Francis.
Pull it up, Jamie.
Yeah, I don't have Jamie. I can't pull it up while we're talking.
But here,
I've been there with my wife. I should know.
Here we are. Like this is a real life or death situation. Granted, it's training, but we're doing dangerous things on the daily, and he is in a position where we are working together. We have good crew coordination. He has trust and rapport with me. It is St. Francis.
It is St. Francis.
Apologies to St. Francis. We
yeah.
we had a pretty strong in-ground effect when we came in. They were like, that it's too strong. I wasn't on the controls when that happened. But we started developing that professional relationship with one another so that when I needed support, when I needed some mental health care, dude, I think I've been briefed like 1,000 times on like, where the clinic is and where's the embedded behavioral health and what they do. And here's the number you got to call. And everybody has to have that crisis card on them, right? Yeah. Like there's so many things that are just thrown at us that like, I maybe knew about it, but I had a tangible relationship with this man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I shot up that proverbial Red Star cluster, right, and asked for help, like here I am, I need somebody to like come to me. I need somebody to come help me out right now where I'm at. He showed up, and we developed a good therapeutic relationship with one another. He would do sessions with me in the morning, and then we'd go to the flight line. That instilled a lot of confidence in me.
Yeah,
we
nice.
we weren't quite simply, processing, right? We were also doing some things that were a bit more forward-thinking, action-oriented, performance-based. It made that resource a lot more palatable to me. Whatever the crisis card is, the clinic, those were all things that I knew about, but that wasn't for me. It was for the guy who's like actually like in trouble. Yeah. That was for the guy who he really needed it.
Yeah.
I just needed something to like take the edge off, right? That's what I was telling myself.
Yeah.
Going through that relationship, right? And still doing like cool Army things and uncovering a lot, rebuilding, getting stronger, becoming a better version of myself because of the work that we did. It really attracted me to the field of men's mental health.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, why don't we have something like this outside of the Army? Why don't we have something like this where community health workers are going into the places where people live and socialize and build up a real relationship with them? Why don't we have the medical professionals that are doing this with high schoolers or you name any other community, like any sort of like communal living.
Back there just a second. I think you said a thing there, a real relationship. A lot of people in any field, but the medical field, it's only superficial.
Sterile.
Yeah, it's very sterile, and that doesn't do anything. Even, yes, there's a level of professionalism that you need to have, but there still needs to be a genuine relationship. Hell, even in just training people, build relationships. It's not just I'm the instructor, let's do this, bang, bang, bang. But I think in the medical profession, that's lost.
It is. One of the
lost.
One of the things that it was brought up like it was novel. The idea of compassionate care being the new wave of healthcare. It's one of the things that we studied in Brown, like being compassionate and wanting to not just feel for the person, but also be part of the solution and understand the situation and the emotions underlying that situation. Is something that isn't taught very well amongst medical professionals. I think it's starting to become part of the development of doctors, of nurse practitioners.
I got to imagine, Pat, that part of that has to do with just personality. Some people just aren't. I don't know. I don't want to say friendly. Maybe empathetic. Not that they're psychopaths, but I have some pretty cold, stone-faced doctors and nurses out there.
I have too. I think a lot of us can draw on experience of like going into a very cold, soulless exam room, right?
Well, most hospitals are cold and soulless.
I do think that our healthcare ecosystem, it's hard for me to call it a healthcare system because it looks nothing like a system. It is a constellation.
It is. Sure.
It's very fragmented. It is such a difficult environment to navigate around when you're in it. It's like they don't tee up medical professionals for success. I even think about maybe therapists or social workers that still have to consider volume and are under pressure to just get as many people in throughout the day. There's some benefits to that. You know, you're serving more people. Your revenue is increasing, right? You might have better profit margins.
Yeah,
but it takes away.
There's the old quality over quantity that don't make you money.
Quality of care, man.
Yeah,
it's one of the things that is becoming a key performance indicator for a lot of healthcare companies now. Is how is our quality of care? Are we having consistent, positive healthcare outcomes? So that's how I got interested, right? I had a very tangible relationship with this guy who I think helped me make some big life decisions and just get better. Yeah. You've heard as iron sharpens iron, so does one man another.
Yeah, for sure.
That was him. He was iron for me. He helped me.
And so was he. And he sounds like he could have possibly been a little bit of a therapist and a little bit of a mentor. Yeah?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly. He's one of those national treasures, man. You know, one of those,
they're out there.
Those studs that you meet in the Army that you're just like, this is an amazing human being.
No, they're out there, especially in the Army. I know it. We talked about that earlier today, how there's the most toxic leadership I've ever seen in my life, but then in the same platoon or the same company as one of the superheroes that is the greatest guy alive, you know. It's crazy. It's weird. The Army's weird.
It's unique. I don't think there's any other functioning infrastructure organization out there in American society that is that socialist.
No other organization could function in the same way that the military functions.
I don't even know how we kept our top spinning sometimes. I'm not here to complain about the military though.
Yeah, that's fine. I do that.
I do that enough on that. I do that so much. I've been out for a while, and it still grinds my gears when something happens. I need to practice letting go. Well, speaking of letting go, I entered into this very successful therapeutic relationship I'm starting to have like positive healthcare outcomes for myself. Like I'm having better overall well-being, and I think coming to understand myself a lot more and how I can thrive in this world. When I made the decision to get out, I certainly talked about family being part of it. I talked about not really being incentivized by career aspects. It
Right.
just wasn't interested in what was being offered to me. I was satisfied with everything I had done. I was also a little banged up, dude. Like I'm
Yeah.
very fortunate to have gotten out of the military alive. I had some medical issues going on, some things that happened to me overseas that I was just not fit to continue to be of service. Especially in leadership role when I am physically struggling. God, I remember my plan was after Afghanistan, I was going to go directly request to go to a warrior transition unit. That was my plan. I needed time to heal physically. I had a decent amount of orthopedic stuff going on with me. And I say all that to say this: getting out, becoming a veteran, becoming eligible for VA healthcare as an end user. One of the things that the VA did really well with me was integrate me as a patient into a clinical resource team to address chronic pain. I had a doctor on the team. I think he was board certified as a pain doc, if I remember correctly. I had a pharmacist. I had access to an herbalist, access to a psychologist, a nurse case manager, an occupational therapist, and a health and wellness coach, national board certified health and wellness coach. And together they collaborated with me on how I wanted to receive treatment and care. The relationship that I had with that health and wellness coach, I think, allowed me to start taking agency of my own health vision, my own aspirations, and how that might fit into my purpose. Having purpose, I think, allowed me to just drive my own participation in the treatment process, my motivation, my consistency. Having a wellness coach there to help extract some of that intrinsic motivation within me and put together a specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound plan with steps, like actionable things, not just aspirations, but like it's like a SMEAC package, right? Like we are going to action this, and she was going to be there to kind of like provide overhead coverage for me. And I think that allowed me to start looking at that profession of health and wellness coaching as something that was real, that it was producing good health outcomes. Like for me, I still very privileged to be able to continue to meet with that health and wellness coach that helped me get through a very difficult time.
Well, I wouldn't have guessed. I've been retired for 5 years. I'm still not signed up with VA or whatever. I don't.
You need help, man.
I'm so. I don't know, man. I'm surprised that they have a health and wellness coach amongst that crew of the team you just called out. Yeah, pain management doc, sure. I know they do that. But in my experience from people I know from years past, you just keep you on meds and that's it. But this sounds like you had a much better experience.
When all of those providers are collaborating together, and that wellness coach is essentially being a great advocate for the patient and sort of steering the direction of how that treatment should go. One of the things that happens very often is a reduction in the amount of medication or the number of medications used for the veteran. You probably seen it happen over and over again, where a veteran goes to the VA and they have a problem and they got to go address something else, right? And they get prescribe more medication, and that has effects on one another, and they're not always synergistic. Sometimes they're deleterious, and now you need some other medication to combat that effect. And
right, yeah, no, that's been the semi-recent history of the VA is pumping dudes up. Throughout the global war and all that stuff.
These health and wellness coaches that I'm privileged to belong to, it's a novel profession. The National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching, I think, started really getting traction in 2018 when they partnered with AMA, American Medical Association, to start creating a national board certification through MBME. They're the same people who do like NCLEX and the MCAT. It's a very rigorous board certification exam that, along with some of the other requirements that they have with their education, how many coaching hours you do, your background going into that profession, I think it helped legitimize what a lot of us probably had already known, that when you engage people in a certain way, motivational interviewing, appreciative inquiry, when you take a vested interest in somebody and you're not just prescribing or giving the solution to them, but asking them to collaborate with you, it can produce some amazing results.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to exist in that cycle of illness. It can exist beyond that. So those two things meshed: mental health, meeting people where they're at, and coaching, being forward-minded, being action-oriented, having a real actionable plan, and not something that was unobtainable, prescribed by a doc. God, I don't know if you've ever had the experience of like maybe a provider saying, you need to stop eating red meat. Like, okay, yeah, sure, doc, that's going to happen.
Well, let me tell you about my most recent primary care guy. His habit was to tell me, well, you're just getting old. Every time I went in with a problem, that was his answer. And I was like, doc, that doesn't work. I'm 53. I'm not 72.
How can you get better if that's the answer?
Right. No, that's exactly. He retired. Thank God.
Thank God. No, blessings.
Unfortunately, I have a friend and a client who comes out here who's an orthopedic surgeon, and just for my ankle situation, I got my primary care guy. Well, you're just getting old. You need to slow down. That's not my life. I can't slow down. I have things I have to do. I have to walk in the woods. I have to climb mountains. I have to run and gun and all that shit that we do here. He just didn't get it.
You have a part of my story too, bro.
Yeah.
We were both in the Army at the same time. Yeah. I think we might have had overlap in Mazar-i Sharif maybe at one point, but that's not how we met. I remember the first time meeting you was at a low light shooting course, where I got humbled. I learned so much about myself. You were able to take me through like this really high pressure task of shooting and start introducing more stressors, turning off the lights, making me like move around the environment. And I love that. I started getting into shooting beyond the profession, and that became one of the ways that I started connecting with other people. That really became a therapy for me, right? Trigger therapy. That is real.
Yeah, it's real. It is real.
I think that inspired me to start being a lot more adventurous and taking on recreational therapy, like doing things for the sake of enjoyment, doing things because it brings me joy. Skills attainment, going through something hard and overcoming it. I can look at a lot of the things that I think I've done with Osprey Shooting Solutions and really maybe believe, or that's not the right word. There's real experience in overcoming some hard shit, especially when other people are watching you. And you got, Big Sarge yelling at you behind.
Yeah. It's always under scrutiny when you're.
I always close my dust cover now, man. That's because Uh,
Not for any other reason. It's just a good habit.
Dude, that's one of the ways that I will connect with men. The guys that I'm supporting is I'd like to do experiential workshops, right? And use different tools, maybe some stuff that we were introduced to, like the after action review. It's a very novel and profound thing in the professional and corporate world. They're starting to use it more often in engineering, in aviation, healthcare. We did it all the time. That was a norm
for
us.
Everything.
It is a very effective, healthy communication skill to have.
It is. It is a great.
So for people listening who don't know what it is, it's a way to assess performance and leave personality and ego at the door. You speak to what was supposed to happen, then you speak to what actually happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes different. Were we successful, and by what measure? What do we need to change in order to be successful in the future? And this is something that I think gets overlooked quite a bit, mostly because we just want to get through it, right?
Yeah.
You AAR everything. You AAR PT, you know?
Yeah.
What are the things that we're doing well that we need to continue to do? What are the things that have become our norms, our rules, our rituals, our routines that become the ethical foundation of how we do business? When that communication skill is implemented over and over and over again, and it becomes a norm, you have the ability to start extracting data and make informed decisions about what to do in the future. You also have a sterile environment to not finger point or blame.
Yeah.
It provides you what Amy Edmondson would call a psychologically safe space for anybody in the organization. Could be, I'm thinking in Army terms, it could be your assistant gunner, or it could be your platoon sergeant. It could be anybody within that organization that saw something and had something to contribute. It allows us to not just be psychologically safe, but to maximize efficiency going into the future.
Yeah.
A lot of us, go ahead, man.
And a good thing for a team is you can get different perspectives. Because if you're a security element on the right side of the objective and somebody, two totally different ball games that you're looking at there. It's the same game, but you're seeing it from different perspectives. So you get to hear what they actually had going through their brain, and you're over here asking like, what's going on? Yeah, that gives you a lot of perspective.
So I use tools like that.
Yeah.
Then I make people do difficult things. I make them do fun, difficult things.
Yeah.
And they grow from it. They extract lessons from it. And then they get to implement it throughout the rest of their collegiate experience. It becomes a core memory, I think, when you have this thing that you're doing that's just so foreign, perhaps, to the academic environment. It's not a lecture. It is an experience that you're having that you have to work through, that you have to overcome, that you have to achieve. I look back at our experience, maybe doing a dynamic two-gun, where I think I started getting into a more polished groove of being a shooter, having put in a little bit of work with you, a little bit of work on my own. And I felt like a very capable shooter. Certainly I have light years to go, right? Like I have so much opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
But that was something that I can look on and be proud of. And for the men that I work with in these fraternity chapters, they have that too. I do some fun stuff, man.
Good.
I run them through a scenario. It's a life raft scenario. And there's like 10 people on this life raft, right? But only 5 can stay on. And I make it impossible. They have to choose who is going to stay on the life raft and who has to leave. And I put guys in there, like in this theoretical scenario of a murderer, convicted murderer, but he is the only person that can drive the boat. A chaplain who has done nothing but godly things throughout his entire life, but he is not going to contribute to getting the team back. People are going to have to take care of him because he's in old age. a mother, a father with a checkered past. Like, I make it impossible for them, but it's fun to see them communicating kind of frantically with one another about who's going to live and who's going to die. And when they inevitably come to too big of a friction point to move beyond, I can introduce maybe a healthy communication skill, maybe a way to facilitate group inputs, maybe a way to do some mission planning together. When they have that structure and can operate within it, bro, they know who's going to live and who's going to die on that life raft.
I just, as you're saying that, I'm thinking, how can we do that in real life?
You want to do some stuff together, man?
I'm telling you right now, I've been eyeballing a boat for a couple years now. A 16-footer that would fit 10 people on. I'm just saying.
I want it to happen.
We could make it a practical
I want
exercise.
it to happen. I want it to happen at Sardis Lake next to the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss. I want to put some guys through a challenge.
Yeah.
Some badass stuff that I think you can certainly help me provide.
Oh man, it could be done.
Man, we could go down to like Baton Rouge, like down to LSU, maybe run some swamp ops.
Yeah, there's a lot of
good opportunity out there.
I like that scenario with like somebody's got to go. That's the hard stuff, right? Like then if you put that on a committee of people, then they'll bicker about it. But what if one guy's responsible? You know, I love that stuff. That's good.
I do too. I really enjoy being able to. So those workshops are fun, but I think what may differentiate some of the stuff that I do is one, empowering the members of that chapter to take agency over the culture, to empower them to have this palpable sense of caring for one another, a real sense of brotherhood, something that's not just a motto or some box to check.
Well, and that thing, and look, you know, I'm not a big fan of like boot camp type train, you know, that kind of thing. But there's a fact of the matter is when you do hard things together, you build bonds. That's just the way it is. I got a friend of mine, Chad, who runs a company who they do crazy stuff where they walk 24 hours nonstop. Nobody's allowed to sit down, that kind of thing. I got another friend that does some similar trekking and outdoor stuff. And these people were all friends for life after that, just because they did a hard thing together. And my friend, you said something a minute ago, made me think of it. My friend Nathan, he does a podcast, and on his last one, he said, it's just very simple. He's like, hey, don't expect hard things not to be hard.
That's why they're hard.
because he was talking in reference to hearing people kind of moan and complain about, you know, the elevation change on this one trail or something. And he's walking by and he's hearing them, and he's like, this is a hard event. No.
So you want to talk about, you know, something hard, maybe something that is going to be a core memory that you are going to remember for the rest of your life. What if in that 24-hour walk, you had to walk across broken glass and come out unscathed? What if you had to walk across fire?
You'd lose people, bud. You'd lose.
Yeah,
people.
It's probably not the right target.
No, you'd lose people on that.
I am a certified madman, dude. I do some wild stuff.
Okay, well, that's a good segue. Speaking of fire, now, good people, you heard me read Pat's bio a little bit earlier. He's health and wellness, and he's got all this education, and he is a friggin' highly trained, certified fire breather. And yes, it's what you think. What I'm saying is exactly what you think. Like a performance artist that you would see at like a circus or like some kind of arts festival or something. With what do they call the things with the fire?
Torches.
Torches, and just spitting fire all over the place. That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
How did you get to that?
You're a part of my story, man. So
I love it.
I think I entered into that low light shooting course as an overconfident man, right? Like I just thought like I had my shit together. And then you wrecked it. Dude, you crushed my dreams. But you showed me that education is available. It's out there. Like if you want to learn how to do something, there's probably someone out there who can teach you, right? There are instructors teaching all sorts of amazing life skills that can push you to be better, maybe in something that you're already doing. Man, let me go down like a little bit of a rabbit hole. I want to give you credit for one, being the first class I think I took outside of your normal, like, pretentious academic institutions that I'd like historically gone to. A little bit of like grassroots there, right? Like people showing up to share the knowledge of what they got. I think one of the most important things I can say is that really shaped me as a person is hitting rock bottom as a teenager and deciding to put down the shovel and stop digging. I got sober when I was 19. I was in college. I had a few more years to go, and I was very privileged to have some things to support me along the way outside of my program of recovery. I was on the rugby team. That gave me something to do on Saturdays, right? That gave me practice, after classes were done. That helped fill the void of what alcohol was doing for me.
Right.
I was in Army ROTC, so I was filling the void of whatever drinking I might have done at like 5:30 in the morning. But it was real. I was going on field training. These things were very helpful for me in setting me up for success beyond just maybe a traditional path to recovery. One of the things that I think I gained interest in to help find some of maybe the excitement that I thought I was missing were these fire performers. And they were manipulating fire and commanding it to do what they wanted. And I became wildly intrigued with it. And I just thought, maybe one day, right? Maybe one day. Well, I took your class, and I think maybe took a few more of your classes. I started taking even more shooting courses. Shooting was kind of like my thing for a little while. I really need to start taking some more shooting classes, by the way. I'll be back here. I think the next thing I did after like shooting was I was like, I want to learn how to breathe fire. Well, there's 6 certified fire breathing instructors in the world.
Oh my God.
One of them lives in Star, Mississippi, which is like, it's like 2 hours away from me.
Nice.
Yeah. So I took the leap of faith. I took the class.
Now I got to wonder, what's the regulating agency for fire breathers?
It's the Flow Arts Institute. There's a little bit of rub there that, dude, it gets so nuanced that is fire breathing really a flow art? It's more of a fire manipulation art. So does FAI kind of constitute the governing ethical body of fire breathing? Can't believe we're talking about like an ethical board of fire breathing.
Yeah.
Like who runs this, man?
Earlier, like going to our weekly anarchist meeting.
Yeah.
Like you just think
this is a skill that's been passed down generation to generation, right? Like there are records of men who would hold on to hot coals with their bare hands and extinguish the flame. There are legends and myths of men who would put fire in their mouth and extinguish it. This is something that human beings have been doing for quite some time, but it's always been a little esoteric. It's been secret knowledge passed down from one person to another.
Yeah.
And that's very much, I think, the way that it was.
Well, sure. Like, and old school circus, like it was just family business, acrobats and friggin' fire breathers and all that stuff. So that was family business very much.
All the things that I think I had seen where I was like, I want to learn how to do that. Yeah. Well, you can. there's a plethora of instructors out there. I think that this isn't necessarily just in the fire performance field, but really almost anything where if you're interested in it, there's very likely somebody out there who wants to help you develop in that skill.
For sure. I would hope that taking my courses made you and everybody else that does understand that you can do it. Because you see a guy on YouTube, a professional shooter, doing a thing, doesn't mean you can do it.
Yeah. Frank Proctor, here I come, man.
Yeah, man. You can do it. You just got to put a little bit of effort into it. Make it a priority, at least for a while. If it's a hobby, yeah, you still got to work and do your thing, but anybody can do any of this stuff.
You can cascade and build on it too, right? Like I remember, going through like introductory pistol course with you, and then polishing skills up with that, and then going to maybe a dynamic pistol course after that. Much in the same way, I learned the basics of fire breathing, fuel safety, all the crazy science behind it. And I was able to maybe start getting a little bit of practice in, absent of that instructor, albeit safe environment. When I was ready to take it to the next level, came back to Atlanta. And I met another individual. His name is Lior Littman. He is a very interesting guy that I think has served as an example of men who did not, or I should just say people, I need to use gendered language, people who did not take the Main Street path. Right. Lior, he's another one of us. He was a combat search and rescue officer for the IDF. And I think typically those guys, when they're done with their military service in Israel, they go into politics or they go into business.
Yeah.
Join the circus, bro.
Nice.
He brought his talents over here, and he's doing some really incredible work with fire breathing, fire eating. He has a litany of other skills that I've seen him teach other people. He has leadership workshops. He served as inspiration for me to start pushing the needle, I think, on choosing my own path and taking part in what I consider to be my real purpose. I think my real purpose in life is to fit myself to be of maximum service to God and the people about me.
Yeah.
It is simple. That is my moral compass. That's my azimuth. If it is something that I can fit myself, not force, but fit my talents, my resources, my interest to go serve humanity and to go serve my God, then it's probably something that is in alignment with my own purpose, right? This is something that I should probably do. I remember a phone call, maybe 3 years ago. It might have been a text message conversation, but I was like, "Hey, Edgar, look, I got some news. You know where this is going. Hey, I just got accepted into this congressional fellowship, and I'm having some trouble committing to it because I have an opportunity to stay here locally and be a part of the private sector and really disrupt the mental health industry completely in a positive way." And I don't think you ever told me what to do, but you did provide a good sounding board. I think you did provide a good reflection for me to see that might not have been the best use of my talents. Probably could have done it. Probably would have been really frustrated and burnt out, though.
Done it. Yes, you could have done it. You'd be driving around in a Mercedes AMG right now.
And wouldn't be here.
Living in Washington, D.C.
I know. What if that congressman just traded stocks really well? What if, man?
What if? Yeah, man. But
you were part of the constellation and network, I think, of bold people that forged their own path, that were successful in spite of the obstacles that were presented to you, that served as peers, mentors, and role models for me to go do the same. To take that big leap of faith and venture away from maybe all the things that my peers were doing. Maybe take a step away from what was safe. I think I've been through some harrowing things in my life before, some real scary life or death scenarios. And I think being in some of those moments, it may have felt like zen, like I was meant to probably be there to overcome it, to survive. I'd made peace with my God. I'd lived a life that was worth living. And I think I can look back on all those instances that I was able to make it out of and see myself grow stronger from the scar tissue that might have developed from it. That scar tissue does not make me weaker. In fact, it is one of my greatest gifts that I can offer to my fellow humans.
Yeah.
I am not in a life or death scenario anymore. But this is probably one of the scariest things I think I've faced in my life, in going into private practice, venturing out alone, doing something novel in mental health, being a professional artist, a fire breather, right? To use that to help convey a message of inspiration and hope. It is incredibly scary for me, I think, because that purpose is real now. I am living my purpose, and I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
Things they're tough. I have failures every day. I pick myself back up. I continue the grind.
Yeah.
I keep forging a way forward.
Now, what an interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
Man. Fire breathing.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Dude, what I don't know if there's any other way for me to live life, man.
Well, I'm a strong believer that if you're doing the right thing, you'll know. And look, I don't get deep into religion. Everybody knows I'm a Christian, but I think if you're doing right, it'll feel right. And I don't just mean superficially. You know what I mean? You'll know you're doing right. Until it feels off, keep doing it. I think that's the way it is.
I do too.
And if you think fire breathing is a avenue for you to reach people or just whatever,
it is.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
It is, man. I was talking about your episode on counterculture.
Yeah. Diving
full into being an artist, specifically fire art. God, who does that?
Usually when I say artist, I usually say starving artist.
Yeah.
You don't know too many wealthy living anyway.
Firewalking instructor, teaching people how to break arrows with their necks. This feels right.
Yeah.
I know I can look back on my own life and see how empowering it was for me to walk through fire unscathed, to
literally
to do these things. You say madness every time I do. I do.
It's madness.
Every time I post something,
I'm not going to walk on glass or through.
It is
or breathe.
It is, dude. It's so.
God has not called me to do that.
I may not intuitively know how I'm going to get there, but it feels right. This feels right. I don't know anyone else who's providing any of these services in this capacity, or who's able to go reach maybe these countercultures of college fraternities, of artists who may not have had the same level of access or maybe privilege that I had to grow as a leader, right? Man, the Army gets you a PhD in getting stuff done.
For sure. Yes.
It is an honor and privilege to be in this space. And a heartfelt thank you from me to you for helping me take that leap of faith just by being you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that, Pat. Yeah, man. Now, look, I'm not hippy-dippy and all that shit, but yeah, follow your dream. Literally. Is it that simple? Almost.
Simple.
If you cut through the noise, man, it's that simple.
But it's not easy.
There's just so much noise. And that's the hard part. It's cutting through the noise. Whatever you perceive pressures from your family or your whatever profession you think or your peers or all this and that. It's really all noise, man. And you said the piece that matters, to get right with your God. And once you're, nobody's perfect, but you'll know the way. You'll find the way. If you go a way that don't feel right, and it's probably not right. Not difficult. Everything's difficult, but if it doesn't feel right to you, it's probably not right.
I do not regret the past, nor do I wish to shut the door on it. It is.
Yeah, no,
It is.
that's experience, man. And all the Cornell and Brown and all that, the experience is that's the juice, man. The degrees are just paper. The experience is the juice, in my
It
opinion.
is. At the end of the day, those are things that I'm using just to help propel this message and go serve people. It is. It may look like I'm a Pokemon collector, right? Yeah, I'm just going after Yankee schools.
Yeah, but that gives you access to a whole other group of humans who do look at those things and think, oh well, because nobody in that world would give me a second look, because I don't have any degree from any place.
A lot of my peers, it's interesting to call my classmates peers. I think so highly of them. I think a lot of my peers may not have had access to somebody like me who had real examples of grit in their life, real hardships, someone who's faced real struggle, I think.
Right.
And I hope I'm not framing that in a way that is discounting their life experience, but
no, right.
They don't.
Generally speaking, if you're talking Ivy League type schools, generally speaking, those are from a little more well off. They have their own version of hardships, so just different than somebody who grew up in the
certainly
ghetto. You know,
it's mutual access. They get exposure to the things I can bring to the table. I get exposure to the things that they can bring to the table. I even think about the artists too. Like, it's mutual access. This community, we're helping each other grow.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant, man.
That's
funny. And that's funny. Speaking of the artist community, my daughter, and we've just been having this conversation over the past few days. She's trying to create a little collective around here of, to try to bring the local artists together to do things on a
amazing things will happen.
A larger scale. It's not just you sitting in your basement doing something, but you get to share it. Once you share it with someone, it grows.
Amazing things can happen from that.
Yeah.
I have to admit, Edgar, one thing that I think I can probably get better at is probably maybe time management. I got to jump on a meeting.
Yeah, you got a call coming.
Yeah, got a wellness board that they're waiting on me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was at 8:00. My bad.
I wonder if I told you 8.
So folks, this has been Pat Towery. I'm going to put all his socials in the show notes, and feel free to reach out. If you got comments on this, please send them. Other than that, check out the calendar or the OSS homepage. We got a lot of we got October filled up, and we got land navigation coming up in December. So please check it out on 2teamguys.com. Other than that, good people, thank you for sticking with me. I appreciate you all.